Put together a little lecture and I'll make the class watch. Pacific Northwest, where we're blessed with Sasquatch. Like in the Himalayas, the abominable snowman, known to have strength more phenomenal than Conan. Discovered evidence of this endangered species. Footprints, hair samples, even stranger feces. Put a bad taste in your mouth like a glass of scotch. Some say it smells worse than an ass or crotch. In British Columbia, they're more than legendary, even though the skeptics claim he's imaginary. Eyewitness accounts that attract attention, while others can't decide if it's a fact or fiction. Is there an ounce of truth? I don't pretend to know. I'm searching for the proof, whether friend or foe. Got his own erotic novel, getting naked with ladies. What's the missing 411? Ask David Pallades.
There's things that are not known. There's things that can't be known. There's things that won't be known. It's okay, you're not alone. There's things that are not known. There's things that won't be known. There's things that can't be known. It's okay, we're not alone.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Once again, we have another episode of Sasquatch Confessions and Friends. And it's the Lord of all, the 14 digital shaman. Welcome to the Leash Show. The Leash Farm, and none other than Esquire JT.
Good evening, everybody.
And something happened to Josh. What happened to Josh?
We're having an evening, man. This is a test run, we'll say.
You dropped off, Josh. You come, or did I say Scott? I said I meant to mention Scott. What the heck, Scott? You come back?
It's been acting up tonight. The StreamYard, the internet, something's going on here, man. It's pretty strange.
Yeah, you come back. And all these pictures, I was like, "What am I supposed to?" I could have. I guess we could do it that way. Yeah, I didn't have time to download all these images and so. Anyways, we have somebody potentially famous. We might have somebody. Well, if he ever shows up, if he comes back.
Oh man!
I mean, this dude. This dude. His name is Scott Pace, and they just did an actual documentary where he's a featured part in it. Scott Pace, and he's got this documentary from the Forbidden document. I guess it's called the Forbidden Documentary, Occult Louisiana.
Yeah, I checked some of that out. It's pretty interesting.
It's got the one guy, Merkel dude. What's his name? The Confessions.
The Confessionals.
Yeah, Confessionals, that's what it is. So yes. And but anyway, Scott, he's like seen Bigfoot. He's seen the Dogman. He's seen beams of light. He's seen aliens. He's been brought up on UFOs. This guy's had the gamut. Everything's been thrown at him, man. And now he's had the privilege of actually doing a show with you and me, or you and I, whatever it is, JT. I mean, what can one say?
It's pretty. It's going to be interesting if we get him back here to be able to talk to him. Like, I'd like to hear about his encounters, man. Sounds like he's had quite the journey.
Well, apparently, you know what I mean? And I think he's also, let's see these images he's been sending me. Yeah, I asked you to come back, so we'll see. I know this guy right here.
It's not going to be much of a show. It's just us.
Yeah, I got a picture of him, and I can't think of his name now. Renz or something like that. You know this guy? I can't even see what I'm showing. It's this guy right here, right? He's hanging out with this dude. And they had some pretty wild experience.
Oh yeah,
I can't think of his name. I've talked to him before.
I know who he is. I know he's a Mormon. The wrench is here. The wrench is here. Hello, wrench. Oh yeah.
Oh, the magical white dots. Yeah, he's filmed a lot of entities there. That's for sure. Problem is, I won't be able to blow it up because he's got that. He need a bit of time. So we got, oh, wow. Is it true? Clay's a wrench.
Clay has a wrench.
Is Clay one of your wrenches? Oh, that's terrible. That was a bad joke. But those Englishmen.
It's you, brother. No.
We'll come back. Well, come back in.
We're waiting for you.
He said, well, you kicked me. Well, come back in. If it kicked you, come back in. Well, come back in. What the heck? I can't help it. Now
I can only imagine.
Come back in. Now he's been kicked out. Well, come back in. Just because it kicked you, come back in.
No, it's been acting up tonight, man. It has been acting up.
Yeah, well, a lot of things are. I'm talking about some stuff that they don't want me talking about. You're having some things that you've gone through, and if this guy ever shows up, I imagine he's going to have a few things to talk about that we're not supposed to be talking about. But that's how we like it, isn't it, JP? We like talking about things you're not supposed to talk about.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Right up our alley. Being the animals, nice.
Nothing like a little controversy. That's what I say. Oh, no. What's going on now? Now what's going on? No, what's going on now, man? What are you doing, man? Oh. Whoops. There's nothing here. I'm sorry. This is like the worst.
Guys, this show is going to be different, okay? It's our comeback, all right? It's going to be a little different here.
Somebody just doesn't want us.
We're not used to it
yet. Someone doesn't want us to have any fun. It's amazing.
I think so.
Dear, try it again. Gosh darn it. Come on. You boys down in Louisiana, come on. You gotta come back in. Try that one. Try to come back in. Come back in. Back in. Try to come back in, please. Oh, go here. Well, we do have a show, but it won't be the same show, I guess, if it turns out that way. So, how you doing, Clay? Anybody else? All two. Who are the other two that are here? Say hi.
Anybody introduce yourselves?
Yeah, my name is Michael Adams. Michael H. Adams, that is. Sir Michael H. Adams to you. Hey, look at you. Oh, whoa. Holy smokes, look who's here. Hey, God. He's back. Hey, who's that? Who are you? Who are you, stranger? We
need to do this. We need to do this quick before the internet cuts out.
You got about 30 seconds to tell us the whole story. You got 30 seconds to tell us the whole story. Mark said go.
This is easy. Y'all can hear me pretty good. Here we go. So the interview's already over with, right?
It's just about. It's about winding down. You got to have fun with this stuff. If this stuff is crazy, if you take it too seriously. Just think of it this way.
You ever had stuff like this happen before, though? This is other people have had this happen to them before.
Yeah, we had a show about a month and a half ago. We were doing an interview with a guy from New York, and he films all these amazing. No, it was the guy from Oregon. It was Mojo.
Yes.
It was Mojo.
Yes, Mojo. That's right.
It was Mojo, and Mojo. He had some amazing images of these things he calls biological, like UFOs, like these. He thinks they're biologics, and there's amazing stuff he's filmed, right, JT? I mean, some of the best stuff by far that I've seen. So, as far as really making you think about outside the box and what UFOs are, what aliens are, and orbs and that kind of stuff. So, it was an excellent show, but it was my turn. So I was the one who's constantly being knocked out. So Now it's your guys' turn.
This is not the
Payback.
first time for me. I mean, let me tell you, this is the first interview this year that I've done because of all the crazy stuff that's going on. And I want to say the last interview was probably November of last year, maybe even October.
Look at
That's
JT. He's
JT.
Sorry.
JT
I was on my
turned,
phone there.
JT turned into a trance there when you were talking about it. He's like,
I'm trying to do something.
sorry, we're not making fun of what you're saying, Scott. I'm just having fun with this whole thing because it's not. Listen, this is how weird this night has been for me too. Now this sounds like something that's really simple, right? But it's supposed to hand off my son. As usual, his mom, got the new boyfriend, so late as usual. So, and the thing is, like, then my guitar pick. I lost my guitar pick, and you have no idea how important that is to me right now because I've been playing the guitar for the past couple of days, right? So I'm looking all over for my guitar pick. I can't find my guitar. I just had the guitar pick. I literally had it right here, and it vanished. Just like in midair, I had me, my son, everybody looking for my guitar pick, right? Fortunately, I had 2 guitar picks in my guitar that dropped in the hole there, so I was able to shake them out, right? But I'm just like all stressed out about where's my guitar pick. And then
how it goes.
and
yeah.
What happened to Scott? Did he decide he's?
Oh my God, he's breaking up.
I can hear you.
We can hear you, Scott, but you're black now. You're.
Y'all still hear me?
We can see. We can hear you. We just can't see you.
No joke though. Like when we were having all these issues setting up, I staged my house when my phone went down, and it stopped doing it. So sage your house up.
Sage
your house.
JT said he smudged his house up,
and it's working fine now. So.
That must be like symbolism of the Illuminati. Is that what we're looking at right there?
Nice.
Is that the pyramid and all seeing? And is that God raw there? Is that what we're looking at? This will kick in. Believe me, it will. It will happen, folks. Because we have none other than Scott Pace, and Scott Pace is going to be a household name sooner or later. Because Scott Pace has got this, he's become an internet sensation overnight. How does that happen? How does Scott Pace become an internet sensation? And
please do tell.
So here he is in this movie, man, and it's just it's just some big names in that movie too. And of course, now Scott, we can't. Your lips are moving, but we can't hear a thing you're saying. Scott, we can't hear a thing you're saying. And I bet he can't hear a thing we're saying too. Isn't it sweet?
He can hear us. Is your mic muted?
I think no, it's not muted because it says it's not muted.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So we can't hear a thing you're saying, Scott. He's going away. He's probably telling his whole life story right now. And he's going to get to Scott. We can't hear a thing you're saying. What did you do to your mic?
Go to the settings and see it in the settings. There's an audio setting, and you can change it from like default to speaker. You might be able to change it like that, and it will work. Try that if you can figure that out. Yeah. If you can see the 3 dots there, it will say settings.
In the meantime, we're going to figure out how to be pros here for once. Or maybe we're going to just be professional misfits and just screw ups after all. Hey, why not? You know what I mean? We got lots of.
I do.
Yeah, Damien in the house. Damien is in the house. So we got all sorts of interesting things going on, and it's just weird stuff happening, right? And I think it's who knows what it's about. Maybe we're just not allowed to have fun tonight. Is that what they're trying to do? Hey, I tell you what, we're gonna have fun regardless. So.
Oh yes, definitely.
Scott, we cannot hear a thing you're saying. can you say something, Scott? Did you have anything? I think you're
Man.
all right. Drop off and come back in. I think it has something to do with these guys from Louisiana. There's something wrong with them. Mississippi and Louisiana. Nothing personal, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, but there's something wrong with you guys. For some reason, I mean, I think because you guys still don't have internet or something. These guys still using those satellite dishes, I heard. That's what I heard. I don't know. Satellite phones. Anyways, yeah, Scott, he's like become quite famous. And this movie, talking about the occult Louisiana, he's a big part of it. And he talks about, once again, about his encounters with Bigfoot and with dogmen and with beings of light and orbs and eye shine. It's crazy, the story. But you remember the story about the eye shine and like the kaleidoscope? It's like it just got in a beam of light, just zoomed him right in the middle of his forehead. And I'm like, you know what? Why not, man? You know what I mean? It's better him than me. That's what I say. you know what? If he wants to get beamed in the middle, have his third eye open, I think that's great. But you know what I mean? I don't see any necessity of him having my third eye open today. I don't know about you.
I'll take it, man. Bring it on.
I've been chosen. I've been chosen. The world is going to end. The Armageddon is coming to try. Scott, what are you doing, Scott? There. I heard a beep.
I heard something.
I heard a beep, and it's trying to make it. It's good. And he's back. Scott, can you hear us?
Hey, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Holy crud. There really is a guy named Scott Pace. I swear.
Oh my God, y'all. This is crazy. This is crazy. I'm used to this. This is not the first time all this has happened. So
what we're saying is, folks, this is just the usual. You can blame us all you want, but it's not all our fault. So
no, it's not. It's you talk about crazy paranormal things and everything. It does happen. So I've had, I guess, not the very last interview. That one went pretty well, but the one before that, I tried to do one with a group called Blondes and Booze, and we just finally had to quit. It was coming in and out, and finally it just shut off. Like I was on my computer first, then that one shut off by itself. So now I'm back on my phone to see if this will work.
Well, you sound good. And that B&B, you be careful with that stuff, man. That mess you up.
Yeah.
Blondes and boobs, that's for sure, will mess you up.
Yeah,
I swear to God, I had that pick right here. It's like something just took my pick and just abracadabra vanished. Right? Listen, there was nowhere for it to go. I don't know where it. Anyways, my son help. My son never helps. So, my son's 12 and a half. He's like, "Oh, shut up, Dad. Let's leave me alone. I'm gonna play my video game." You know what I mean? I'm like, "Son, I can't find my pick. It was just right here."
That happens. Things will disappear on you in a heartbeat, and then all of a sudden, when you don't look for it, it'll be right back there. Happens to me all the time.
Right in front of you.
Yep.
So okay,
it'll happen, especially.
So I'm blaming Scott on this one. This is what I'm blaming. Scott's fault.
My friends came to visit.
Yeah.
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 So Killer Clown's in the house. Squatch people's in the house. Jason here's in the house. How about it?
All the people.
Come on, Jason. Oh, his people are showing up. All right. My people are like, well, I got some of my people too. Really? My people are here? What the heck's wrong with you? Have you figured this out yet? Anyways, so Scott is once again for the third or fourth time. Scott has become a bit of a celebrity in the internet world all of a sudden. How many people have a documentary in which you're shoved in it? And of all people that get shoved into a documentary called The Occult Louisiana is none other than Scott Pace. Now, Scott, why you of all people? I mean, why didn't they think of me first? I
think.
Oh, that's right. I'm in Ohio.
I think my
I'm being
my
nice to
experience is
myself.
pretty unique. It's very different. Before all this happened, I never even talked about Bigfoot or anything like that. I never even thought about it until October 19th October 19th, and then that's when it all started for me. And so that's when I seen a Bigfoot and a dog man together, and they started mind speaking to me. And ever since then, I've actually had a gift of mind speaking. I've never had all that before. So now when they come around, I get a high pitched noise in my ear, and I actually can talk to them now. So I think that's pretty unique. You talk about occult things and weird things that happen in Louisiana. I'm just one of the people with some of the stuff that happens here. And we've had a lot of history
Happens
here, a lot of
everywhere.
crazy things happen. So yeah, it's the things that happen in Louisiana are just really, really strange. A whole lot of strange, but it happens all over the United States, But a lot of people don't go out and talk about it. But I don't mind sharing my stories and my experience with people. And so,
Yes,
actually, this is probably come to think, it's about the third documentary I've been in so far.
You've been in 3 of them. I had no idea.
Yes.
What are the other 2?
A couple guys one guy was on the West Coast, and there was another guy on the East Coast. I did something with him too. And so I've got a couple of them in right now, So it's I think it's my third one so far that I'm in.
Yeah, but most people never even get one. You got 3 of them, dude. Man, triple crown, man. We are in the presence of royalty, aren't we, JT? We are in the presence of royalty here. How many of us?
Yeah, I'm sitting right here, man.
You're Esquire, JT. You're an Esquire. You serve the king.
I definitely wouldn't say all that I'm royalty. That's for sure. Now, I'm just one of those guys who's are persons that had an experience, and continue to have experiences too. And not only that, it's kicked off in the UFO world, and a lot of different things have happened to me. It's really, really strange. So, even for me, sometimes I have a hard time sleeping because of all the strangeness that happens. So,
and this is all taking place in what time? Like when did this all start happening for you?
2019. Since 2019, all this stuff started happening to me. So it's been pretty recent. It hasn't been that long. And in fact, it was late in 2019, so you really can't count 2019. It was only
so you never had any paranormal. You never had any paranormal experiences or anything like that prior to 2019.
I had a couple strange things happen, but nothing like a coming to me or anything like that. It was kind of weird, kind of strange. So, but when they came up to me and
you got
basically showed up, yeah. So it's kind of strange, and it's very, very strange.
So now it is very strange, and you're a strange fellow. You now turn into a robot.
Yeah, I'm freezing up now.
How did that happen? I know. Did you hear that? All the crackling and the robot stuff it's fascinating. We'll get through this. We shall get through this. We shall, one way or the other. So yeah, so also you had a couple of experiences, but in 2019 it just kicked in. Did you ever ask the question, why Scott Pace? Why you?
I have asked them, and they don't really go into details or anything like that. And you just consider yourself to be kind of special, nobody really gets chosen for this. I don't know. They just came to, they just.
Hey, Scott, you're going total robot on us, man. You're a total robot on us. This is probably most people who don't know what's really going on don't realize how important this interview actually is. This interview reveals what we go through on a constant basis. Both of us that are tapped might as well be tapped. But you know what I'm saying? Tagged. Whatever that word is. Listen, you know what? It's what we go through constantly. It's just it's just like a giant roller coaster ride. You can't take it too seriously. After a while, you just have to laugh about this stuff, because if you did, you would go batshit crazy is what you would do. So here we are, Scott, what are we going to do about this? You want to try again? Say something?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, now we're gonna have to do this one more. Something's going on with your mic, so it's really gone robot.
Mic is
Yeah, it's been an interesting night so far. It's still crackly.
Why don't you? Okay, let's try this again. Okay, let's try this again. Maybe we need to do this one more time. Come out and come back in. Okay. Will you, Scott, try one more time?
Yeah.
Try to come back in. We'll see if that's what it is. If not, then it is what it is. And
we're trying here, people. We're trying to put a show on for you, but you know what? The spirits, the energies aren't allowing us tonight, man. Something's happening here.
He also didn't boot himself out. I wonder if I should take him out. There you go. I didn't do it. I didn't have to take the man out. Thank goodness. I wouldn't have been able to.
Funny though, man. Literally my phone was booting me out. All that stuff. I smudged my house with some sage, and I said, prayer to the Creator to clear any of this negative energy out of my house that's causing this. And I smudged around my phone. Look, it hasn't done it once since. So
maybe that's what Scott needs. Do some smudging.
It works, man.
We got the sovereign cosmic wild man in the house. We got a killer clown. We got a sovereign cosmic wild man, and we got a demon.
Sasquatch people.
And we got a demon from New Jersey and a clay man. A clay man. And he is the wrench.
He's got the wrench.
He's the wrench for the night. So, yeah, well, JT, it's been a while since you and I have done the show, so here we are back. And
yeah, we're back, man. We're back. We're gonna start doing this again, guys. We're not gonna do 2 shows a week though, but we're gonna aim for doing a show a week. We're gonna try.
or at least a couple of shows a month. We're gonna try.
Yeah, exactly, right.
At least a couple. Man,
where's the guest? Man, we're having serious stuff happen tonight, James. Like the weirdest stuff is happening, man. Things aren't working for us. We'll see.
We got a seeker in the house. Hello, seeker.
Sasquatch seekers.
He's a seeking, and we are peeking. Yo. So yeah. What is I just been dad all week. That's what I've been. Everything that I planned on doing, as far as like going out, maybe do some field research. Sure enough, nope. That's a sign. It's a sign from where and from who? Sika.
Somebody's telling us something.
So yeah, well, first of all, let's talk about you. I mean, you filmed something, and we haven't had a chance to even talk about it on the show, have we? We just but JT's been filming some stuff.
Yeah, always, man, always.
A shadowy figure like thing.
It was the shadowy figure. It was ducking behind the tree, kind of moving around, and I knew it was there when I seen it. I could see it with my own eyes, but it is what it is, man. To me, it's nothing. It's just, it is what it is. And it's a part of my life, and it ain't no big deal, If you want to show it, you can.
I like buttered sausage.
Let's talk about it, baby. Buttered sausage.
Well, you probably missed this, but what happened is that Diesel pointed out that Jesus said backwards is sausage. Literally, it's sausage.
What?
It's sausage.
What the hell?
I pronounced sausage. Sausage.
Hey, he's back.
He's back.
He's back.
Here we go again.
We'll try this one again. We can hear you.
You can hear me?
We can hear you. There's no robot thing going on, so that's a good thing.
All right.
This is a case lesson in perseverance. You know what I mean? We're gonna talk about this stuff if hell freezes. Or maybe we're not. There's got to be something.
This is crazy.
Maybe there's something to do with your headset. Is it cordless? Does it need to be charged? Should you leave it plugged in?
Hello?
No, we can't hear him. Oh.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Oh,
yeah.
Let's try this. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. I can barely hear you. Let's try to get through this.
Okay.
This is crazy.
I got a feeling it has something to do with the headset.
Anything. We're just going to see what happens here.
So, yeah. So let's go back to this thing. So in 2019, you started having things happen. What was the impetus for things to start to happen for you?
Well, after 2019, as soon as the experience happened, I mean, I went a couple months and just had a hard time dealing with all this. And to be honest with you, I didn't know whether I was going to have to go and actually go get professional help or what, because it was really, really bothering me. And I just thought I was going crazy because I had seen something in the woods. I couldn't explain it. These things were talking to me and I hadn't had anything happen. Well, about springtime at our hunting lease where we were hunting at, they actually came and started cutting down all the trees. And so they clear cut everything there that was on our hunting lease. I mean, they wiped it down. So there was nothing left there. So anyways, one Saturday morning, I got up after that and my cousin and they told me, they said, look, they're going to clear cut everything and they're going to cut all the lease down. I said, well, here's what it is. It's not our land. We just lease the land. So anyways, I was sitting there drinking a cup of coffee one morning, sitting in my recliner, and I get this high-pitched noise again. And all of a sudden, this voice comes to me. It's like a veil. It's like right on the side of the wall outside my house. And it says, why did you cut all the trees down? Why did you do that? And I said, well, I didn't do it. I said, that had nothing to do with us. I said, that was the people who owned the land. So I went into the part of explaining to him that we only lease the land. And that's why you only see me there a few times a year. I mean, I'm there maybe 5 or 6 times a year hunting. And I said, we only hunt deer and we only hunt hogs there. We don't hunt anything else. And so a voice came back to me and told me, he said, well, that was our home. That's where we lived at. And so I just felt like there was a spirit of depression that came over it and just kind of put its head down. I could feel it walking away, you know, even though I couldn't see it. It was like they were putting an image inside my mind where I could see it, and it turned and walked away. And it's like it just went away, you know, away from me. And then after that, they began to come to me.
What did it look like? What did it look like? This being?
It just looked like a dark shadow. It really didn't look like a Bigfoot or anything. It just looked like a shadow.
Okay.
About basically what it looked like. So I couldn't tell him facial features or anything like that. But that's what I could see in my mind, you know, so like a dark shadow. And it turned and walked away. And later on, they would come to me, you know, and they started coming to me and talking to me and stuff like that. And when they would come to me, I started out, they said, look, don't be afraid of us, not here to hurt you. And I said, well, all this stuff is really hard for me to understand. And they said, you know, we just want to talk to you, and that's it. So I said, okay. I said, well, let me ask you some questions. And they said, ask us anything you want. And I said, okay. I said, is there a God? And they said, yes. I said, what about Jesus? They said, yes. I said, what about the Holy Spirit? And they said, sure. Well, I'm a born again Christian. And I go to church and everything. So, I mean, that's really important in my life, you know? And I said, yes, I was going to try to trick them and say something, you know? So I said, well, how then can I be close to God and Jesus and to the Holy Spirit? And they said, be more reverent. Is what they told me. They said, be more reverent. And I'm like, wow, what does that mean to be more reverent, you know? And I had to actually look it up in the dictionary to even find out what it was. And actually what it means is to be, you know, more holy-like is what it means. And so I started asking my kind of crazy questions. Can we go through portals and all that? They said, yeah, but it wouldn't be good for you as a human. They said, it's not good to do all that stuff. And I said, okay. They said, actually do more harm than good. And I said, well, what about levitating and stuff like that? I said, yeah, you can do all that. You can be taught to do that stuff. And I said, okay. And so every time I would go into woods, I would try different things. At the same time, I started buying books. Well, I started buying everybody's book that put something out that was on Bigfoot, you know, and I started reading books and everything. And what I would do is show up to work about 30 minutes or 40 minutes early every day. And I would sit in my vehicle and just read, you know, and I'd read about, you know, different experiences that people have because I was having an experience. A couple of guys that really shaped the way I think and everything. One of the first guy, his name is Dr. Matthew Johnson. So I got both his books and paid for them and everything, you know, read them and all that. And so in 2020, I put all that to the test, and I wanted to see if what he said was true. So he calls the good ones the Janu. Then he calls the, you know, not so good ones or whatever the bad ones are called the Trachon. And anyways, I was sitting in my deer stand the next following season. And I started asking him, I said, well, if all this is real and this is true and everything, and I said, are you the Janu? And as soon as I said that, these silhouettes began to show up. And you could see the faces and everything. And I actually had one show up right beside a pine tree. It's actually a female, and she had her baby, and she just actually come around the side of the tree right there. And actually started taking pictures. So I had a picture of all that, you know. So I took a picture of that. And so there was proof there. Every time I would do something or say something to them, I would try to get a picture. And so I've got a lot of pictures and stuff. And then I started reaching out to other people in the community and stuff. Everything that had something about Bigfoot, I started, you know, trying to get on that and to see how people were. And if a lot of people are negative, or if they were naysayers or whatever, or just what you call trolls, then what I did was I got out of that, you know, I got out of that group and everything. I didn't stay in there long. And then the first interview I actually did was with Mr. Kerry Arnold, the late great Kerry Arnold, and that was Bigfoot Odyssey. And so I actually did an interview with him. And I'm trying to remember the number of mine, but it was like I don't know, maybe I can't remember right now, but I did 2 of them with him. And so you know, after that it just started. And so that was the first live interview I did. The first time I talked about it was right after my experience, and it was early on. And it was a guy by the name of George Workman, and he's on the East Coast over there by you guys, you know, somewhere over there. So anyways, I'm
on the West Coast.
You know, yeah. So, you know, anyways, I talked to him, and he interviewed me first, and I did like just an audio type interview. And so after that, I started doing interview after interview, and since then, I don't know, I've probably got 14, 15 interviews and stuff that I've done on YouTube and stuff like that. Last time I counted, I don't know, I've got a bunch more, but I can't remember how many exactly it is. But all through this time, I've had different experiences. So after I started reaching out to people, another guy, but his name was Kawani Lapsaritis. I started reading his books, and so I would do things like talking to him when I went in the woods and stuff like that. He said just talk to him, don't go. If you go in with guns, you know, don't ever point at him or anything. And anyways, I had different things just happen to me in the woods that were just really ironic, and just different things happening. And a lot of times I go in the woods and find footprints, but they only be like one footprint. You know, I couldn't explain that. Why would they have just one footprint? So I started doing more research, and in my research, I found out there was a lady by the name of Sue. I can't remember her last name, but
Sue Walker.
Say again?
Sue Walker.
Sue Walker, correct. Yes. And Sue Walker, when I watched her interview, she explained all that. And what she explained was they walk in and out of dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
So that told me right there they were multidimensional. And so then I had the chance in 2022 of October, early part of it, to go see Mr. Barry Webster and Derek, his brother. And they have what they call res squatching. So I got to go spend the weekend with them and actually see some things that were really going on. I got to see Eyeshine and a bunch of other things that were going on there. You know, actually I got to see a 13-footer that was in the daytime. And that was pretty incredible to see all those kind of things, you know. So since my 2019 experience, I mean, there's so many things have happened. I even had last season, I had a female walk out, and I was actually sitting on a leaning tube in Kisatchie National Forest, and I just had my gun laying across like that. And I was looking, scanning. It's like she just appeared like this. Like she wasn't there, and all of a sudden she was there. And so I looked over there, and when I looked at her, she mind spoke to me and said, "Hey, you got a gun?" I said, "Yeah, I got a gun." But I said, "Look, my hands are here, so I'm not going to point at you. I'm not going to, you know, do anything." And I crossed my arms like this. I said, "Look, I'm going to put my arms like this. You and your family can feel safe." I said, "I'm not going to point the gun at you, you know." So anyways, I started seeing these other figures, and about 5 or 6 figures started showing up over there. And one was hanging off the side of the tree, and I sent those pictures to you, Mike. And then she was right there. And,
I'm not sure if he's even here right now.
Oh, he's out. Something happened. He got out. So anyways,
sure.
Yeah,
I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. So if you look through your messenger, I sent you some pictures and stuff in there, but you'll see the female that's standing there. But the funny thing about that area is by the tree right there. And if you look by the pine tree, you'll see she's there. But anyways, you know, she was naked. And so I started laughing at her. And she kind of got offended, and she told me, she goes, "What are you laughing at?" And I said, "Well," I said, "because, it's not every day that you see a naked person, or Sasquatch or whatever, a forest person stand." I call them forest people. And I said, it's not an everyday thing. You see a naked person standing in the woods, And she said, "Well, think of it like this." She said, "Had y'all not sinned in the Garden of Eden, y'all would be naked too right now." And I said, "Wow." I said, "You got me." I said, "Man," I said, "That's deep." When they talk to you, they get real deep where you're really quick. I mean, they'll take you straight down the rabbit hole where you just have to stay there for a while until you figure a way to get out of it, So they can get real deep with you real quick. So that's the kind of things that they do. And
is this the image? Is this the image?
Yes, that's it. If you see the pine tree to the left of the pine tree, there's like a log going down from left to right. She's right behind that. Right there. That's her. That's correct. So you see the shoulders. The shoulders are gray, and you can see her body parts in the front right there. So when I was over there in Nebraska, in Macy, Nebraska, spending time with Barry and them, at night you could see the eyes shining. To me, that was incredible. That the eyes shine looked like two kaleidoscopes, and they were turning. They were just, when they looked like they were turning. And then when they turned to the side, the crazy thing is that they looked like they were hollow tubes. If you ever see the pictures, they look like a hollow tube, and their eyes actually project out like lights when you look at them. And so I've seen different kind of eyes that are there. I've seen white, blue, red. I don't think I've ever seen yellow before that were lit up like that. But those eyes were definitely there. They were very prevalent that weekend, But I've also seen dog men too. And the dog men, some people say they have red eye. I've never seen a red-eyed dog man, but I've actually seen yellow eyes is what I've seen. Okay. And those are pretty scary. Those eyes, if you see yellow eyes at night and they're kind of like this and at an angle and about 7 foot off the ground, that's yellow ones. That's a dog man. And they run in groups. Usually you run in groups. They don't run by themselves. And so this past hunting season, I've seen those at night. And that one creeped me out pretty bad when I seen that. I don't trust them. You too, right, JT? I don't like those dogs. I don't care what you say. I don't trust them at all. I really don't. Some people have good experiences with them, but I haven't really had a bad experience. But I have, when mine spoke to me, the last one that mine spoke to me told me to put the gun or drop the gun down or don't point at her, it was going to come and kill me. So ever since then,
it says spiky eyes.
Oh yeah, big time. Those guys, they'll give you the EBGBs. Another thing is when I had my experience, they were able to control my emotions. A lot of people don't talk about these things, but the dog man actually kind of put on me like the spirit of fear. I was trembling, like I was cold. I was so scared that I was shaking. And then the Bigfoot turned to it and told him to stop doing that. And then they're kind of arguing back and forth with each other, talking back to each other. And he said, "Leave him alone. He's not pointing the gun at you. His finger's not even on the trigger." And it was amazing when I had my rifle up and I was looking at him, that when I did, I could actually see through the scope, and I seen the Bigfoot real clear. Its skin was very, very oily. It was black like tar, and then the eyes were really pretty. They were actually yellow and orange is what they looked like. They were gorgeous, really, really pretty. And it didn't try to do anything to me. It didn't try to throw anything at me. It didn't try to be mean to me at all. It was just checking me out, and I was checking them out. So.
Don't pay attention to that comment. That's my twin brother.
Yeah. Did Mike drop the topic again? Hey, Mike, did you drop the topic again?
No. It's just that was the Dogman Confessions. He just made a smart aleck comment that I thought was hilarious.
I didn't see. I can't see the comments. I don't have that turned on. So
it's an inside joke between us guys. He said, "Have you ever been in contact with ground pigs?"
No. So go continue, please. Sorry about that.
Okay. So, but anyways, it's amazing that sometimes you think they're only in certain areas, right? Well, we actually live in Louisiana, and I'm living between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. And so if you look at the lakes, they have what they call Lake Marpole and Lake Pontchartrain. we're on the west side of that, in between the Mississippi River and there. Then once you cross over the Mississippi River, you have this huge expanse of one of the largest swamps in the world. It's called the Atchafalaya. Have y'all heard of that? The Atchafalaya swamp down here?
Yep.
Yes. I mean, huge. And you would not believe the stories that people hold on to. And recently, I've actually talked to, last couple of years, real recent, last month, I talked to a police officer that was here. And I asked him, I said, have you ever anything weird happen and stuff like that? And he's like, yeah, down the road right here. And I said, okay. So that was south of us, okay? And then I talked to another one, it was actually north of us. And they both seen one. This other guy gave me his account. The first guy gave me a really, really good description. He was actually sitting in his cruiser and doing some detail. And it was a political type thing. And anyways, he felt something staring at him, so he turns, and there's like a big, deep ditch. And when he turned, he said he seen this big old black figure, and he said it looked like a cross between a football player and a bodybuilder. And he said it was just humongous. And he said all of a sudden that thing just turned and ran through all the briars and the bushes and all the saplings and everything, just ran through it like it was nothing. And he said it scared the mess out of him. And he said the next day he went and talked to his I guess his boss or whatever you want to call it, his lieutenant or whatever it was, and told him, what had happened and everything. So, well, just kind of keep it on the down low. And so they have actually heard of these stories before in our area where we are. And so it's not the first time this has happened. So, they're really everywhere.
Oh yeah, no, they are everywhere. Definitely. Like, I'm up here in British Columbia and I've had lots of encounters with Sasquatch.
Right. So if you look at this picture right here, Mike, if you'll take your cursor and go over, I'll show you exactly both the faces and everything. So if you look right where your cursor is, that's the head right there that you're circling. That's actually the face. And if you go straight down from there, you'll see some black stuff that's there, but that's actually the legs and the feet. So that's actually like the legs right there that's coming down. He's actually squatted down and sitting down. And his knees are to the left a little bit. Now, if you see the white stick that's right there,
what's
the
this
white
one
stick
right?
and go to the right a little bit and then go up. And I'll show you where the dog man is. If you see that real bright green all the way on the right side of the picture, in the top right picture, the top right.
That's the left.
Well,
Yeah,
there's clearly an entity right there. I think we went over this last time, Scott.
Right there, yeah. So if you go down there's a dog man right there. And what it is the snout. If you're looking at the snout is black, and they got two black eyes. Then the head and the two ears that are sticking up right there are it looks almost like a coyote,
Interesting.
And so for everybody who hasn't seen these pictures before, that's the picture that I took. So I was actually sitting in my deer stand, and I zoomed in with my iPhone the best I could, and that's the picture that I got. And as soon as I took the picture, they started, when I put my rifle up and started looking, they really didn't mess with me until I took the rifle and picked it up, because I'd looked at it with my phone, and I looked at it with a pair of binoculars, and then I picked my rifle up and looked through my scope, which I could really see. And then once I did that, then everything became clear.
Interesting. Yeah, I see multiple entities in that picture. So I remember this one from the show we did last year.
Yep. So that's the original picture I have of her, the lady, the female that's standing there. If you look straight back, that's her right below your cursor right there. That's her. That's it. Right there is her standing there.
Well, what's that right there?
That's another one. That's one hanging off the side of the tree.
Hanging on the side of the tree. Okay.
Yep. So it's above her. It's probably about, 10, 12 feet off the ground right there. And it's kind of hanging off the side looking at me like that, And that's a lot of people have experiences with them and they're scared and everything. But now when they come up on me, I don't really say too much to them. I haven't had them try to attack me or anything or throw a stick at me or anything. I've only had one throw one stick one time. And I just got into a box stand. And when I closed the door, I took my backpack off and laid my rifle down, having to open up the windows yet and everything. And I had one throw a stick and hit the side of it. And I said, well, I know you back there. I'm not going to point my gun at y'all back there. So I've had many experiences like that.
So this is the image we just showed us was the first time you had an encounter?
Yes, that one, this dog man and the Bigfoot together. That's the first one I had. The last image I showed you was the female I seen last year. Had a conversation with her.
So, have you learned anything like profound, unique, new that that they've revealed to you that no one else has ever heard before? By chance?
Well,
Great question, Wardy.
yeah. What is the craziest thing y'all have ever heard them doing? I mean, the ultimate craziest thing you've ever heard them doing. And I'll share my experience with you.
The craziest thing that I ever heard? I've heard an awful lot of stuff. You have to give me a chance to figure that one out.
So, what about you, JT?
I don't know, man. I don't really pay attention to too much of that stuff because I have my own experiences and I have a journey with Sasquatch, right? So, I mean, you know, they just show themselves to me in many ways, you know, whether it be physical or non-physical, right? I've seen them physically 3 times in my life. I've never received mind speak, but they've gifted me some amazing things. Like when the Sasquatch came back into my life, they gave me the stone of transformation, my first medicine stick. Like there's so much to it, but like, you know, I can't think of something like that. Like I just have my own experiences, and they're just, to me, they're not wild, or it's just me, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, you know, everybody puts all these things in different categories, right? Some of them think that they're just flesh and bone. Other ones think they're part 8. Okay, so you got that group. Then you got what I call the last group, who, or some of us, have a lot of experiences, a lot of things we can't explain, but we just. So one of the things that happened to me when I was talking to them, I said, look, I really can't comprehend all that stuff. And they said, well, it's not what you believe, it's what you're willing to accept. And that's what they told me. And they said, for example, they said, you got your iPhone, right? I said, yeah. They said, do you know how it works internally? I said, no, I don't know how that works. They said, well, if you just press the button, you accept it, it comes on, and you press certain things on it, it's going to work the way you want to work. I said, yes. And they said, well, just kind of take all this like that. And so one of the things is that they come in and out of the ground. And that is the hardest thing for me to comprehend. Of everything they can do,
that's what they do.
They go inside of portals, going inside behind of a veil and stuff
so
like that.
I got an honest question for how do you know that they're telling you the truth about anything, knowing that these trickster spirits are out there? How do you know that they're not messing with you? How do you know when it's not them messing with you, and the difference between that and the truth?
Everything
it's just like
it's for me, everything it's like everything is truth, because it's like it's kind of like you get a feeling from somebody who lies to you. You know, you can feel like they're kind of, you know, that sense of it's just like a good person. You get around certain people that are really good, you know, you can feel that. And then other people, my wife has intuition about people really, really well. She's extremely blessed. She can tell when the good people and bad people are around. You can tell when they're lying in a heartbeat. And I have a little bit of that, you know, I can kind of tell people stuff like that. But with them, it's just straight truth, and it's just to the point. They're very direct when they tell you stuff, you know. And like I said, the craziest thing for me is Barry shared a story with me one time.
There's Barry.
I've actually, like I tell you about the female, she just showed up out of nowhere, right? And so he told me, he said his nephew was actually on the res, and he was running away from the res police because he'd gotten a little bit of trouble. And so his nephew ran so far as in this tall grass. It was in kind of like in the fall, and it was cold and everything. He just fell down and kind of like was just resting there because he ran so much. He ran like 5 or 7 miles. I don't know. It was a long ways. And he just couldn't go anymore. So he laid down. All of a sudden, while he's laying there, he feels the ground moving. And this Sasquatch comes out of the ground. And it walks over to him and just looks at him. He goes, like that, walks off. Now, that kind of stuff gets me. You know, that's the kind of stuff that how can they just come out of, how can they materialize and dematerialize and come out of trees? You know, you see faces in trees, and I wonder if that's them or not, you know. But it's kind of like this, like I was telling you about the female. She wasn't there, and all of a sudden she was just there. The same thing that the picture you see that picture I just sent you, that they're starting to materialize, but they're not quite materialized yet. And a lot of times I think that's what they do, is when they go into a cloaking mode. You know, like I was taking pictures of my land one time up there in North Louisiana, and I was actually just like doing a video, and also one runs across like that. You see my finger, how it did that? That's what I caught, was a blur. Okay. So you see that. So it does that, right? That's what it did.
Yep.
And I caught that is what I caught. And when I did, it zapped my phone.
So my iPhone wouldn't work toward the front, but if I turned the camera toward me, it would work. So they actually messed up my phone. So there's another thing, you know. So I mean, things like that they can do. That's crazy. And JT, you said this too. They take stuff in your house and they move it around. Like my craziest thing I've ever seen them come inside my house, you know. And you don't see them. I've only seen them one time that they're young ones had come inside the house and they were real little. I mean, really little. And I'm trying to think. They look like an Ewok is what they look like. Liberty Ewok is what they look like, you know. And long dark hair. And I only seen them for a split second. That was it. And I think the parents, what they told me was that sometimes they'll drop them off to humans and they'll let them stay around them or, you know, be in the vicinity of them. And they will actually just let them learn from us. And so the paranormal side is really, really crazy. It's nuts.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Keep going on and on and on about the stories they've done, you know, I mean, the things that they do. But they took our dog one time. It was funny. I let the dog out in the evening time, and me and my wife were inside watching TV. And so she said, "Did the dog come back in?" I said, "No." She said, "Well, go look outside and see where she's at." So I went out there and I called for her. Couldn't find her. I said, "Well, she's gone. She's not around." She goes, "Wait a minute." So I went and got on the golf cart and I ride up down our road and looking for the dog and everything. Good. Our dog never leaves our yard. She'll go to the neighbor's yard a little bit and come back, you know. Anyways, my wife went sit on the front porch. She's in a rocking chair. She starts talking to him. She said, "Look, if y'all took our dog, please give our dog back to us. She's like our, you know, she's like our child. You know, we don't have any kids, so it's like our child, you know." And so, anyways, the shop, I have a 3-car garage, and my shop was locked. And all of a sudden, she hears something banging on the roll-up door. She goes, gets the key inside, goes outside, opens up the door, and the dog comes running out. So she locked the door and come back inside. Well, I'd been running down the road in a golf cart, so I come back to the house, and I said, "Did you find her?" I said, "Look, she's right here." When I went to go look at the dog, her countenance, her ears were down like this, and she was right beside my wife. So there's another story. So then my wife had 2 years ago, my wife had a surgery that didn't go well at all. They had to put pins in her hip. And when they went to put the top pin, it hit her sciatic nerve that goes down to her leg. So it actually clipped it. So she was really in bad shape. So anyways, I take a few days off of work and everything. I had to go back to work. And at the time I was working a night shift. Well, she texted me. And so I was doing some PMs and stuff at work and all that. And all of a sudden I get my message and she said, "There's orbs in the house." I said, "Do what?" She said, "Yeah, there's orbs in the house." I started looking where there's these blue dots. Okay. And so whenever I looked at the picture, she said, "Yeah, look around." I said, "Well, that's a reflection off the lights." And she goes, "No, watch." She took another picture right beside her. So then she asked him, she said, "Why are y'all here?" She said, "They said to help protect you." And so that's what the blue lights are for. And so every time something happens, me and my wife always ask questions, you know, what is that? And why do you do that? You know? So this picture right here is an interesting story. The one you're showing right now, that is actually the face of one. And so we had went to a place at night and we were doing some research with Barry and with Derek Webster in Macy, Nebraska at Risk watching. And there's Derek right there. And so anyways, we were in the truck and Derek had got out, him and his sister got outside and they were in front of the truck and they were actually doing a live. Okay. And you can see the eye shine and everything. Well, I could see these dark shadows around us moving around and I could see the eye shine. Now at night, I couldn't see them. I couldn't make out the hair and everything. All I can see is a dark figure. And that's another one that's hard for me to explain to us, how at night they move around like that. And all you see, you don't really see them sometimes. You just see a dark figure, okay? And it may be the difference between a regular Bigfoot and a Sasquatch. I'm not sure. I don't know how to explain all that. So anyways, this one walks by, and when it walks by, Barry always told me, we were sitting in a truck, and I was in the back seat. And so the guy was sitting in the front seat. He had rolled his windows up, and he only left my window down. I said, "Leave my window down. I want to take some pictures." And so I was snapping pictures, and all of a sudden this one walks by. And when it did, it stopped and it turned like this. And that's the picture you see right there. And I took the picture. It actually reached in the truck and tried to grab my iPhone. And I told it no like that. And I pulled it away. And it looked at me and it kind of smiled to me and it said, "What is that?" And I said, "Well, that's our communication device. That's how we get around." Only thing I can think is that was a young one because it wasn't that tall. It was about probably 7 foot tall, maybe. That was it. And it walked around toward Barry. And it grabbed his arm and tried to grab his iPhone too. And him and his sister got scared and ran back and got in the truck. So if you go to Res watching on Facebook, you'll catch him doing some lives and you'll actually get some some eye shine and stuff. Yeah, so that's Barry right there.
I've seen their YouTube channel. I've seen these guys.
2022, I went over there.
Cool.
And so that was, I tell you what, whenever I left that place, y'all, I never want to do any more, go out in the woods, do any more researching again. I had enough. I'd seen enough. I'd done enough. And I had enough experiences to say, hey, they're real. They can do more than what you can explain. Also,
They're part of it, man.
Last night we were there. So that's the one that's looking at me right there. He turned around and was looking at me, and that's his face right there. So if you look, the bottom part, go down with your cursor there, Mike. Right there's his chin. Go up a little bit. There's his mouth. Next part, go up a little bit more. That's his nose, and go up a little bit more. That's the eyes. So there's the face. That's what you see.
I see it.
And that's supposed to be a Bigfoot?
That's it. That's what I got of him.
Okay.
But the last night
I see what it is. I see what you're saying.
Time, and we went to this one place they call Hard Knocks. And while we were there, we pulled up there, and at first you could see the eye shine around, and that was them all around us. And all of a sudden they left, just like this. They were gone. We didn't see them anymore. And so we stayed there a few minutes, and I guess about 10, 15 minutes went by, and all of a sudden Barry says, the aliens are here. I'm like, oh, my God. So we started looking around. This magenta light comes out of the sky, comes straight down, y'all. And when it comes down, it's the only way I can describe this light is we don't have light like that on Earth, okay? It was a magenta light. It was kind of like a pink and a light purple color. That's the best way I can describe it. And that's the only light that came down. It wasn't that big. It was probably about maybe 8 foot across. And all of a sudden, this light beam comes out of it and starts walking across and goes right in front of the truck. And when it walked in front of the truck, it walked down the hill a little bit, and it stopped and turned and looked at us, and it went on down. But this thing it was
just like a being made out of pure light. Like was it white light? Was it pink and purple too?
I'm sorry,
was it pink and purple too, or was it like white light?
No,
like the beam?
It was almost like I hate to say a rainbow color, but it wasn't. It was just a bunch of beautiful colors, but it was light, it was blue, it was red, it was green, but it wasn't colors like you would see around here. And it was really, really hard to describe those colors, what it looked like. But it was mostly white with those colors in it. If you would just take just say a silhouette light, and you add colors into it like a rainbow color, and it's kind of like that's why inside. You ever seen the oil sheen on top of the water?
Yeah,
it kind of looked like that a little bit. It's what it looked like. That's the best thing that's coming to me right now.
At one point in my life, I did DMT, and I went to like a different dimension, and it was like a portal made out of these amazing colors. And I came to this room where it was just filled with colors, and there was this white light being standing there. And it was just standing there. It didn't say anything to me, but it just felt really, really good. Yeah. And it was very brief, then I was sucked back into my body. So, I mean, it just made me think of that.
Yep.
You stand in heaven. Hello.
Yeah. So I've had since then, I've had experiences where at night I've had quite a few of them, but the one I tell the story on the documentary is the one where they came and got me at night. And it's like I had an out-of-body experience, okay? And when they came and got me, I wasn't aware of anything until we were coming out of what you would call a spacecraft or something. And I never looked behind me. I always looked forward because this thing that was there, let me explain who all was there. There was an insectoid, is the best I can say it. He was doing
like
all
praying mantis?
Didn't look like an ant. Looked more like an ant.
Ant people. Yeah, I know them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. The next one, there was two tall grays, and then there was a Bigfoot. Only one. Big one. I mean, a real big guy. He was, my God, this thing was probably 14 feet tall at least. It was huge. And just really, and they were all nice. They didn't bother me or anything. We just walked. So I went with them. We started walking. We walked into this place. It was like a tunnel almost, but each going down, there were columns all the way down. Okay. It was actually kind of a pretty place. And the light inside there was like a lime color light. It was yellow lime color looking. You know,
I knew that before you even said it. Like, it just came to me before you even said that. It said green in my head.
Yes. Okay. So that's this light coming out, and it's coming off the walls. And I didn't see any kind of source, energy source or anything. It was just light in there. Okay. So we walked a long way down this corridor, and also began to get to hallways. Okay. There were like hallways going down, and it went a little bit further, and all of a sudden there was this one hallway that went to the left. And so we turned, and there was this huge black sarcophagus. Okay. It was huge. I mean, really, really big. And so we walk over there, and the Bigfoot just takes the top of it and pushes it over like this. And so I was looking up like this. And so he grabbed me and put me inside. And so I crawled inside, and whatever it was laying down there, and it had these slanted eyes. Okay. And when I got on its chest and put my hands down, I was looking face to face. It was like I'm looking like this. Okay. And all of a sudden the eyes opened. And when they did, they were like a green looking color, like a yellow green looking color. And all of a sudden it didn't really move a lot, but it started opening up his eyes. When it did, it was like I snapped out of whatever that ant thing was doing. And I said, oh my God, I got to get out of here. So I was trying to get out, and I was trying to jump up, but I couldn't get up because it was too tall to get out. And all of a sudden that thing grabbed my legs. And when it did, it had long, long fingers. I mean, the fingers must have been a foot long, and it was skinny. And it had like ice pick nails on it, is what it had. And it actually grabbed my legs and punctured my legs. And I screamed at that Bigfoot. I said, get me out of here. Get me out of here now. And it reached down and it pulled me out. Okay. And when it pulled me out, it hurried up and closed the lid. And I remember looking down my leg, and I was bleeding. Okay. Where it had grabbed me. By the time I got home and I woke up that next morning, my leg was healed, but it still had dots on it, you know? Mm-hmm. Excuse me. So anyways, I asked them, I said, why did y'all do that? Why did y'all come and get me? And they said, because you have a spirit and a soul. Mm-hmm. That's pretty strange. That's pretty weird.
You know, it's like, sometimes I think from hearing experiences, like they use us for that. Like they can take our energy and like put it in something else to like reignite it or something like that. Not to like take our soul, but they need us there. They need a human there to like do this, to make it happen, right? So I don't know, just something that comes to me.
Yep. But anyways, I
very
was
interesting. Yeah.
And it was like it's like it didn't wake up until I was there. And so when I got on it, exactly. I was looking face to face with that thing, opened up and looked its eyes. I was like, whoa. But it's really even hard. The only way I can explain the body was the skin was below the bones. Okay. It went down into the bones and everything. And it was all black. It was completely black. And it was big. This thing was really big. It was as big as that Sasquatch. Mm-hmm. And so its head, I didn't really see if it had a cone head or whatever. I just seen its face, and its face was kind of, how do you say that? Teardrop looking. It's kind of teardrop looking. It's kind of like this, you know, went down like that. And that's what it looked like. But I've had many experiences like that where I had actually woke up in the morning and I blow my nose, and my nose would be bleeding sometimes. And I would have like a reddish orange looking dirt, you know, fine sand come out of my nose. I've had that happen before too. Then I've had some good experiences. Like, you know, the Bigfoots came and talked to me one time, and they said, well, what do you want? And I said, well, I want to fly a spaceship. And they said, okay. So they came and got me. And so when I came and got me at night, we went to this one clearing. It looked like it was probably from y'all's area or something like that, you know. And we walked up in this clearing, had the big old tall pine trees and stuff, real big trees. And so we went to this craft. And when I walked up in there was some smaller grays and stuff that were in there, some other creatures. I don't even know what they were. But I walked with these two Bigfoot. And so when I walked into it, and this is kind of crazy, this thing was like a rectangle box is what it looked like. Okay. And when I walked up to the front, there was like a chair sitting there. And I said, where's all the controls at? And they said, you use it with your mind. I said, do what? I said, yeah. So I put my arms down. They said, lay your arms flat. So I laid my arms flat. And when I did, this thing came to my body. And it's like it came to me and it fitted my body. And I put my hands down. They said, well, just tell it what to do with your mind. And so what I did was I put my arms down and my hands down flat. And I told it, I said, well, go forward. And all of a sudden he said, stop. Don't tell it to go forward. It said, you need to look around because it may be something there. And they said, you need to go, you know, up or look around and look before you tell it what to do. They said, be aware of your surroundings. And so it was like I started looking around and I could actually see like around me and stuff like that. So we went up and we took off and we flew all around and stuff. And then we came back and landed. And then I got out of it and it was like, and I asked him, I said, why couldn't I fly something more fancier than that? I said, well, it's kind of like a van. It's kind of like a work van or something like that, you know. They said in case we wrecked it, which I thought was hilarious.
Awesome.
You know, I mean, they don't trust us humans at all, you know. So it's
let them drive the work van.
Can actually control that thing, you know, and I thought was hilarious. But I've had a few experiences like that, you know. And then I had another one where I was actually flying one and they let me fly by myself and there was somebody else with me, and for the life of me, I can't remember who the other person was, but it was some lady that was with me, and we took off and it was almost like she was afraid that we were going to run through some buildings and some wires that were there. And I said, no, don't worry about it. And we just went right through that stuff like it was nothing. It's like we dematerialized, went right through it. We took off. So I've had a few experiences like that. And the way I can tell it's different, that it's not just a dream, you know, is because when you get back from those really, I don't forget these dreams or experiences. I call them dreams, but it's out of body experiences. It's you don't forget them, because a dream you'll forget, but these out of body experiences, you don't forget them. You know, I keep them with me all the time.
Yeah, man. Whoa. So is that all your experiences, or do you have like more stuff here? Or it's quite the story you have, man.
Yeah, I've had quite a few things happen. I mean, I could keep going on about, you know, things they've done. Actually, the weekend before I had my first experience that I say about that was I was sitting in a box stand, and it was during muzzle loading season. And so this doe had come out, and I seen it come out. So I had my muzzle loader and opened up the window, and I actually shot it while I seen it go down, and it kicked and stuff. And so I knew that, you know, I made a good shot with it, and I killed it. So I reloaded just for the heck of it, and I got up and started walking out the box stand. And when I did, I walking toward it, it was like the deer was laying down, right? And all of a sudden it got up, and like the head was hanging down, and it just took off. And I looked, and I'm like,
deer.
God. I said, what in the world happened here? You know, and I said, I know I shot that deer. Went over there. I mean, it was a big, huge puddle of blood. Didn't find any tracks, didn't find anything. Well, come to find out, they'd stole my deer.
Oh, yeah.
And so this is not the first time they had done that. And recently, they did this past season, they did the same thing to my cousin. And my cousin, they don't believe in that stuff. You know, don't believe in none of this stuff. And I said, well, y'all don't have to believe it. But I said, sooner or later, something's going to happen, you know? So sure enough, my cousin has shot a deer, got it on camera. Okay, the deer's laying down. The next camera shot you get that's on the trail cam is them coming to get the deer, and they're all looking around. You can see them looking around like they got this crazy look on their face, like, where's the deer? He said, I know I shot that deer. I said, I know you shot the deer, because the deer's laying there and the picture is dead. So they went to go get it, and they stole that deer. So we've had quite a few deer taken like that, you know?
Yep. I've heard of that happening before too. Actually, I know somebody who has had that happen to them. You know, or it actually happened with the gut pile. It disappeared really strangely. You know, no trail, nothing.
So if you look at this picture that Mike's got pulled up right here, this is on our property over there. And the one with the blue arrow there, that's a Sasquatch. Now, these other things that are in the picture, your guess is as good as mine what that stuff is, because I have no idea what it is. But you know, there's always
there's always something with Sasquatch, or, you know, forest elemental spirits. So many things that are.
You look at all these other things.
They're
some
always
of them
there.
look like dog men. Some of them look like a. If you look at that one that's to the left, look at that face right there, JT. You see that one to the left?
Yep.
So it's you go up a little bit with your pointer. Keep going up to the top left. Yeah, that one right there. That one looks like a bulldog almost, don't
it? It's so strange, right? So
that's
strange.
what I'm saying. When you look at all these things, I don't know what in the world they are, you know. But when I feel something, I feel a little tingle in my ear. I always take pictures. Always. So I'm just taking pictures. And it's amazing how you can leave a picture on there and then come back later and you start looking. The way I see these things is I start looking for eyes first. Always looking for eyes. That may be something that's on the side of a tree. It's like this, or it may be just partial. You know, you may have a partial thing with just a face like that. But when I feel something, as soon as I feel something, I start taking pictures. And I'm going to tell you, every time I get pictures, every time.
If ORD, if you can hear me, I don't know if you can pull it up. Show them that picture with that Sasquatch face coming out of the tree that we just took last weekend. Those couple pictures in the video when I sent you those, they're they're always with us, right? They're always with us. They're
Well, I can look. I'm not quite sure.
if you're able to do that.
You say it's something that you're talking about the shadow being, or you're talking about the other guys?
The ones that Lee took pictures of.
Oh,
There they are, right there. Yeah, those 3 pictures right there.
we're here.
Yeah, go to the one on the far right. Because that's like the original picture where it's like in the distance. But we zoomed in on it, you can see. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but you can see it right there.
Is that the one you want to look at, or?
Yeah, that was the one I was talking about.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that.
It's a cool picture, man.
You mean this one right here?
No,
Is that one? Okay. I'm sorry. I'm
it was the one I showed you. There's that one too. That's cool. The boogeyman.
So it's right here is where it's peeping out.
Yes.
So, Mike, I sent you one of the Janu. Remember we talked about the Janu? I sent you a picture of that one. So if you get it, you can try to pull that one up. It's on your messenger.
You just sent it to me now, did you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Check that picture out, Scott. Oh, you took it down.
I'm sorry. Wow. Yep. That's what I was talking about exactly right there. Now, you know, in North Louisiana, what they used to call these things, they called them hide-a-behinds. You ever heard that term before? Hide-a-behind? They hide behind.
Yeah.
You know, they come around, they hide behind. That's what they call them, hide-a-behinds. And people wouldn't believe
You call them
they
people.
see these things, you know, but that's them. That's them hiding behind a tree. That's what they call them a hide-a-behind for.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good image. It's a good image.
I'm reading some of the comments. I'm reading Diesel in New Jersey. He says, when you're out in the woods, did you ever see a planes or a helicopter? I've never seen that before. I have seen UFOs. So if y'all want, I'll tell you about my UFO experiences. I've actually seen, I'm trying to count y'all how many I've seen. I think I've seen 5. But there you go. If you check the silhouette right there around that yellow circle, its eyes are closed, and you can see its mouth and its nose and its 2 eyes right there. You see it?
Is that just a face?
That's just a face.
Yeah, I see it. It almost looks like an ET face.
Isn't it crazy?
Mm-hmm.
So when I asked, are y'all the Janu? Boom, that came up. Now, if you look on the side of the pine tree, look on the right side of that pine tree, there's some kind of other weird looking face too with the two eyes right there, 2 black eyes. I don't know what that is. Almost looks like a cat face to me.
Yeah, I remember us watching this we looked at this image last year too, Scott.
Yeah.
And I remember pointing out something like, that's even more blatant. Is right there's an entity right here.
That's a Bigfoot right there holding a baby. If you look at it, that's a Bigfoot right there holding a baby.
I don't know if it's a Bigfoot holding a baby, but it's there's something there. Could be.
Yeah.
There's something.
But that she's behind a tree and she's holding her baby like this. She's got her hand. She's like holding it up like that. You know. Crazy.
I was talking about this. I mean, I don't see what you see, so that is me.
I see it. I
see multiple heads.
Okay, right there. Go back where you're cursing. I'll explain it to you. If you go down right there, there's the eye. It's the left eye. Go straight across.
Big eye. Another eye.
That's the right eye. All right, now go down a little bit. Go over to the other way. That's the mouth right there. You're going a little fast, but that's the mouth.
Nose.
Right, that's the nose. Yeah, JT's got it.
I can see it clear as day.
I got a better view than both of you, and from here, and I don't see it. So I just don't see it. I mean, I'm not going to just tell you it.
It's all right.
I see it clear as day, man.
Look, I didn't see none of this stuff before, but I guess, you know, me and JT just have a little, you know, a little bit easier looking at stuff sometimes. You know?
I see more than one head is what I see. That's what I see. But it doesn't mean anything.
I'll tell you something that's really interesting. If you go back to that picture where that yellow thing is right there. I'm going to show you. It's a face inside of a face. All right, go back with your cursor all the way to the left. Go a little bit more. Your other left. If you go inside the circle right there where your cursor is, go down just a hair. That is a face right there. So that face, I see, it looks like Eddie the Monster right there. If you look at that face actually appeared first, and then this big face came
It's
behind.
weird looking at.
Isn't it crazy? Looks like Eddie the
Yeah,
Monster
I can
right
totally
there.
see it.
I'll start singing
Such
that
a
song.
trick.
No. Yep, that's him.
It's like these guys manifest out of like multiple entities, right? And that's how they like showing themselves to you, you know. By the looks of it, anyways.
Let me go back to tell you about my UFOs. Okay, so this is going to blow your mind. So the first one I seen was actually, it was a few years ago. It was probably about 2000. I seen one. We'd actually went with a church group, and we were going to Destin. We were doing what they call a singles retreat, and there was a group of us about 8 that got there early, and the sun just went down. It just went down, and we were sitting on this boardwalk facing the Gulf of Mexico. All of a sudden, this green light comes flying straight over, and so it had like sparkles and stuff coming. So that was the first one I seen. So the next time I seen one was up at our hunt lease, and there's this really bright white light, and it was up in the sky, and it was just like there was a film projector. The screen had dropped down. This UFO went inside of it, and it closed up. So that was going inside of a portal. So this past winter, I'd worked a night shift all through winter and everything, and so I'd sit outside for a little while. It was nice and pretty outside, and the weather was good, so I'd sit out and watch the stars and stuff. But the same thing happened right on the side of my house going toward the south toward New Orleans, where the Gulf of Mexico is. And I actually seen one of those windows open, which I call a portal. And it looks just like a film projector. Opened up, a screen, opened up, and it shot out and went toward Texas, and it closed up. And so the next thing that happened, Hurricane Ida came through. And so me and my wife were sitting outside on our patio, and where our little outdoor kitchen is, and we were sitting there and talking and everything. And it was hot, so it was kind of muggy and stuff. And so all of a sudden we see this light coming from the Gulf of Mexico toward us. And I looked at it, and she said, "That looks like a helicopter." I said, "Well, maybe." And I said, "Let's let it see if it's going to get a little closer." There's no noise. Never was any noise. None at all. Kept getting closer and closer and closer, and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And because that thing ain't making no sound. I said, "Nope." I said, "Let me try something." So I said, "I see you like that." And all of a sudden, this thing changed from a bright white light. It's like it went out. And all of a sudden, you see this disc. That's all you see, like a CD disc. And it's turning counterclockwise, and it has blue and silver. And then it's like a CD, and the center's open, and that thing came right almost directly over us, made a 45 and shot straight toward Texas. Was gone. Was out of here. And my wife got up, and she said, "I'm going to go inside." I said, "Why are you going inside? If they wanted to get you, it'd already been done. They'd have got you."
Yeah.
I started laughing at it. And so this past
True though.
yeah, if they wanted to get you, they already got you. They would have beamed down and got you, So I was just dying laughing. I stayed out there for about another hour or two, and then went inside and went to sleep. But anyways, this past summer I seen something I've never seen before in all my life. It looked like a Rubik's Cube. And what was weird, the clouds were rolling in from the northwest and were coming down, but this one cloud was going west to east. It was kind of weird. It's all by itself. And all of a sudden, this cube drops out. When I say it looked like a Rubik's Cube, it looked just like a Rubik's Cube, except it was all translucent. Had all the little squares on the thing. And it took off south. Then all of a sudden, it changed directions, and it was going toward the northeast. Just out of there. But I've never seen anything like that before. Anything like that. But all this stuff has been happening since 2019. It's like my awareness is it's incredible.
It's crazy, right? Because like I had the Sasquatch encounter when I was 8 years old, but like with the Sasquatch, they're like spiritual transformers, right? They transform people spiritually,
right?
And like I didn't get to remember that encounter until after I rekindled my connection in my adult life. It like gave me back my memory of having this encounter when I was 8 years old. It's like it's just so wild. Like since 2022 to now, my journey is absolutely it's so out there, man. And the things they have shown me, I I don't want to like get into it too much on the show right now because like we're here to talk about you, right? But like, man,
you can talk
my
about
journey
yourself, too. That's okay. It
in the
helps me
last
remember stuff.
in the last 2 years, man, so much stuff has happened. Like they come to me, they gave me the stone, or like the stone was found, and I knew it was something, right? So I went and got the stone. I talked to the people here, the local people, and they told me that this is a symbol they've been using for thousands of years. It stands for the Great Transformer. And on the stone, there's man, woman, and the symbol. So it's the story of transformation from spirit to physical, and vice versa. And 1 week later, I was fishing at the same river system, and the Sasquatch, I turned around, and she was standing there in the tree line, this huge brown figure standing there. And she came walking out in the plain sight, like about 100 yards, taking the biggest steps I've ever seen anybody take. Like they were in the, like from when I could see her in the distance here, it's like they were so big, the space between her legs. And she had a 9-foot staff, like stick, just like the one she gave me. And I didn't realize it until recent that it was my first medicine stick, because I've known they want me to be this medicine man, and they have this journey for me, this path set out, but like I'm just coming to, like, the translation is just coming through, and like
Right.
there's so much to it, man. Like I could go on and on and on, man. There's so much to it, and like I've seen them.
JT, what do you think about when they say medicine stick and stuff like that? You know, Moses had that stick that he had, you know, that God gave him whenever he went, you know, for 40 days. I mean, for 40 years, he brought the Israelites out of Egypt. You know, there's a stick there. Okay. And then do you think it has something to do with them having some kind of healing power that they put inside the stick or something like that? What do you think about that?
I don't know what to think about before, but you know, it could very well could be, but
stuff, you know. So you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I totally get you. You know, I believe that Sasquatch work with everybody. Like they work with everyone, so it's like it's a possibility, you know, for sure.
Yes,
definitely.
And that's one of the things I think about is when they're giving you stuff, a lot of people just blow it off as saying, "Hey, well, there's nothing there." But what if it actually has some kind of power to it?
It's like we are the power, right? We just don't accept that yet, like as in everyone. And
yep.
You know, like literally I've asked the Sasquatch, like I connected the Squatch gang as me and my buddies, right? Like we connected with the Sasquatch through the elements. They guided me to connect us through these stones that they gave me. And like so many things, I've traded with them so many times. And at one point I was walking around the forest and I was guided to this toy phone in the forest, and I picked it up and I was joking around, man. And I was like, all right, guys, like I'm answering the call here. I can't keep collecting rocks and filling my house up with rocks, right? I'm like, I want to see some like amazing footprints, another sighting, something like marbles, and a good woman in my life. And within 1 month, all this stuff came true. You know, I tracked a Sasquatch for 7 kilometers with my twin brother. At the end of that tracking, we seen the Sasquatch running down the train tracks. 1 week later, I was cleaning my house and I turned around, and in the middle of my living room floor, there's these 2 big ball bearings that are the size of marbles. Exactly what I asked for, something like marbles. And then a week or 2 later, my ex-girlfriend came into my life. You know, like literally all I had to do was ask for this stuff, and it just, you know, like we are the power. The Sasquatch they're guiding us back to our true selves. That's what I believe.
I've had a lot of strange things. Like one time I was going into our hunt lease and I had my backpack on the seat and I had my rifle there. So I had my headlight on and it was dark. Okay. It's completely dark. So I went ahead and picked up my backpack, put it on, grabbed my rifle. And I turned to look back toward the seat. There was a stick laying there.
Mm-hmm.
That fast.
Little things like that, right?
Right. Okay.
Just,
so then I go
they're just like,
and I what's funny is nothing happened that day. So that night I went back again that evening, and I go to the hunting lease and
I go in the stand and I come back. On the way back, they mind speak to me. They say, look down. I mean, the sun's going down. Okay. So I stop and I look down with my headlight, and sure enough, there's a footprint. So I get my camera and I try to, with my headlight and everything, I try to take a picture of the footprint. I have my rifle on my shoulder like this. They came and they took they were cloaking behind me. Okay. They took my rifle and moved it like this, like it was like they were right behind me. It was in their face. They just took it and moved it to the side with it. I'm like, man, it's the little things like this that they do. You know, another time I was there and they gave me a picture in my mind of this little Sasquatch reaching up, and I had some crackers. Okay, so I would bring little snacks with me and stuff like that. You know that's everybody says little Debbie cakes and all that stuff. You eat all that stuff, the junk food and everything. So, anyways, I had these little crackers, you know, the little peanut butter crackers, and so they had given me a picture of this little kid reaching his hand in like that. So I said, okay, he probably wants some crackers. So what I did is I went in my backpack, took the crackers out, and I left them on the window edge whenever I left. So that night I left that out, and sure enough, I was walking out and they gave me a footprint. So I looked down and took the picture of the footprint. And while I had my gun on my shoulder, it must have been one behind me who helped me walk out, because it took the gun and moved it over like this. I thought that was the funniest thing, you know. But I don't get rattled with things like that anymore, because I just know that they're around me, you know.
Yeah, I've never had it.
So like whistles and wood knocks and all that, I've heard all that before. One of the craziest things I've heard in the woods was them grinding their teeth. I've heard that, and that's kind of creepy to me. When they start doing that kind of stuff, I get out of the woods. I just look. All right, is
it just coming out of thin air, like beside you? You can hear them there with you, but or is it like coming from a distance?
It's coming from a distance. You can hear it coming through the woods, you know, the grinding their teeth and stuff like that. And I was on a leaning tube down in the national forest, and I just got out and let them have it, you know. I'm like, nah, that's a little bit too weird of you. Sound like y'all hungry, and I don't want to be your next meal, you know. So I get out. So, but this things like that, you know, this weird stuff like that. I've been gifted little things, you know. They give you all kinds of little crazy things. Inside my truck, and this is weird. You go to get inside your truck. I lock my truck every night and everything. And I go look on. You know how you lay your armrest down? On the armrest there is a white feather. Now, how did they put that there inside the truck when the truck's locked? It's things
easy
like that.
For them. It's easy for them.
That's the kind of stuff that gets me, though. You know, I've been in this stuff since 2019. Little things like that. Now, they would hide my keys and all kind of stuff, and sometimes I think they cloak them. They're there. You think stuff is there, and I get ready to do my lunch and all that. Get ready to go to work. You know, I got a certain time I got to be there and all that. I'm trying to get out of the house, and they'll mess with me like that. They'll hide my keys. They'll move stuff around, you know, stuff like that. They've done that a bunch of times before. I just tell them to stop. I said, look, y'all got to stop all that. I said, my world's not like your world, you know. I said, you know, we get in trouble. Y'all don't really get in trouble for stuff, you know. So we get in trouble with all that kind of stuff.
You know, like I've had like recent things happen. Like I'll tell you a couple things. Like they're confirmation stories, right? Like after I went through a recent breakup, and I was out on a hike, but me and my buddy Sasquatch Seekers were hiking, and on the way down, I was making a video, and as I do in my YouTube videos, I just speak my mind, and you know, it could be about anything in general, or you know, spiritual stuff, or Sasquatch stuff, or anything, right? And at the moment, I was talking, and I said, "I'm not here to start no Sasquatch cult. I'm here to share my experience, you know, my journey, what I know." And as I said that, I pounded my chest, like as what I know, and I pounded my chest like 4 or 5 times. Later that day, I was talking with my buddy who speaks with Sasquatch telepathically, and he was giving me a bunch of information and stuff that I needed to know for the time being, like, you know, what the stuff that I was just going through. And the last thing he said to me was, Sasquatch pounds his chest at you. And it was just like, nobody's seen that video. Nobody even knew I said that. So it's like, to me, it's just like those little confirmations that show you that they're always with you. You know, they walk with me, they guide me, they're here. And just little things like that, you know. And a recent thing, we'll talk about things disappearing. Like I smoke a dog joint here and there, right? And I was going out on a hike, and I had rolled up a couple things and put them in my jacket pocket. 10 minutes before the hike, I try to reach for them and they're not there. And I'm like, where the hell? So I'm like looking around my house, moving everything, cleared the table. And like, and all of a sudden in my mind, I hear this is like not a voice, but like a thought that comes in. And it says, you need to be clear minded out there today. Like you shouldn't be out there smoking. And I didn't listen to this, right? I did not listen to the thought or the communication. And I'm like, well, I'll just roll up a couple more. So I go to do that. And as I'm doing it, I literally look down and look up and they're sitting right beside my hand, you know? And it's like little signs like that, man. It happens all the time.
I sent Mike a couple more pictures, and one of them is a scripture out of the Bible, and it talks about how we war against things in the heavenlies and stuff like that, and how God created, everything that we have. And so, it's one thing that when you're dealing with all this stuff, it's another thing to have backup from the Bible that actually talks about stuff, like in Ephesians, it talks about, for we war not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities, against powers, against rulers of darkness of this world, and against spiritual and wickedness in high places. Now, when you think about those kind of things, it's really deep, but if you break it down and look at it, there's a lot of things in the heavenlies that we're dealing with. But there's a lot of scriptures out there too,
Spiritual warfare is real.
Yep. And here's another one. I sent Mike this one if he puts it up. I don't know if he will or not, but it says in Colossians, it says, for in him all things were created that are in heaven, that are in the earth, visible and invisible. Now, if we stop right there, he just told you straight up in the Bible that there's things you can see and there's things you can't see. And so proof is right here. Some people say, well, they don't believe in all that stuff. Well, there's proof right here in the Bible. It's telling you that God created everything. Created things you can see and stuff you can't see. And so whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created by him and for him. And said before him all things, and by him consistent. So, that's one of the things when I think about, when I got into all that stuff, I started thinking, I said, man, this stuff ain't of God. It's not of God, because people want to call them demons and all that. This is one of the things that really get me, is when they call these creatures demons. They're not demons. I'll go out on a limb right now, so they're not demons. I don't believe they're from Earth.
Me too.
I think they're from somewhere else. The things that I believe, what I've been told by them, is that I believe with Dr. Johnson 100% that they were brought here from another planet. And I'll go out on a limb and say that some people agree or disagree with me. I don't care. It doesn't matter. But when they mind speak to you and tell these things, they were brought here. They're brought here to work. Some of them have spiritual gifts and some of them didn't. Some of them, just like we all have different gifts. I don't know what you do, JT, and I don't know what Mike does, but I do mechanic work. I'm a mechanic. I've been working on cars and trucks since I was 14 years old. My dad seen I had a talent, sent me to school, and I've been doing that ever since, Each one of us. Yeah, exactly. And some people just get it naturally, And I believe they're the same way. I think they all have different gifts and they have different talents and they can do different things, but some of the things they do, like cloaking, I don't think they're taught all that. Some of them can cloak, some of them can't cloak, And I believe all these things 100%. And I've even asked them stuff like that, can all y'all do the same thing? And said, well, some things we can, some of them we can't, Some of them go in orb form. You've seen the orbs before?
Oh man, I've been surrounded by orbs, bro. Like where I live is in Mission, BC, and the Chehalis First Nations. That's where the word Sasquatch comes from. Yep. That's literally where I am. That's where I connect with Sasquatch. Where I've been surrounded by orbs, and 15, 16 orbs.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Like so many, I've had so many experiences, man. So many.
Yep. That's one of the incredible things is they can go in orb form and light form and stuff like that, and they can materialize and dematerialize. And so I don't think that makes them a demon, And so I haven't had,
like I said, spiritual transformers
and stuff like that, But there's a footprint right there, guys. That's one of the first footprints I got, and it's pretty big. And that thing's deep. It's like 2 inches inside the pine straw. So I put my foot down on the side of it to see if I could stomp it down. I couldn't do what that did, but it left that footprint. and it was
No,
only
is
one
it?
footprint. It was weird. It was just one. I was like, now how in the world did this thing? And there's what they look like at night. That's not my picture. Okay, that's somebody's picture that I borrowed. I don't even know whose picture that
Okay.
is, but I got it off the internet. But if you look, if you zoom in on that a little bit, you can see the eyes, and the eyes is like the light is projecting out of their eyes, and so that's a young one right there, and that's one that I seen to look just like that. So the ones I seen at night, that's what they do. The lights come out of their eyes like that. Like I said, that's not my picture. Normally, I don't put any pictures up there, not mine, but I thought this was pretty cool, you know.
Yeah.
But you can see the
Good
lights
resemblance for sure.
Yeah, it's probably artist rendering, it looks like, but
yeah.
Well, you know what the history behind this is?
Right.
Do you know the history of this picture?
I don't know it. I don't know anything about this picture. I just got off the internet, y'all, and like I said, this is not my picture. I'll say it 100 times, not my picture. I normally don't do this. I don't put my picture out there, but I mean, if it's not my picture, I don't put it up there. But it's just one I thought was significant in what we're talking about, so that's why I put it up there.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's a group of them filmed.
I don't try to take somebody else's picture. Oh, that's my picture. You get a lot of fights like that, boy. You talk about make people mad in the community, you get mad quick.
Right.
I try to stay out of fights with people and stuff like that. There's a picture.
I just do my own thing, stay in my own lane, man.
I got plenty of pictures and experiences myself. I don't want to steal somebody else's junk. You know, I'll tell you another funny one about skeptics and all that. Last season, season before last, I took my best friend. He wanted to go with me hunting. He hadn't been in a long time and everything. He said, man, I'm in between contracts and on my job right now, so I'm going to be off for 2 weeks. Well, he was off between Christmas and New Year's. I said, well, come on, let's go to North Louisiana. We'll go shoot a deer. So sure enough, I bring him up there, and we left it Friday. And early in the morning, about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, so we got there, and then we went and got on the stand and all that. Nothing happened. And so that evening, went back, and sure enough, it was kind of slow again. So I began to mind speak to him a little bit, and I said, look, we got out of the stand. It was starting to get dark, and we was walking away from the stand, the box stand we were in. And I started mind speaking to him, and I said, look, this is my best friend. I said, he's a skeptic, though. I said, he don't believe in y'all and everything. I said, if you don't mind, would you please give us a sign? Just whatever you want to do. Man, as soon as I said that, the sun's going down. It's starting to get dark. It's getting creepy, okay? And all of a sudden you hear this big old roar. And he goes, pow, like that. And it hits the air. And my best friend turned around and looked at me and said, it's time to get out of here. And I said, look, if they wanted to get you, they'd be right next door. I mean, right next to you, they grab you. And I said, they're not going to do that way. It ain't in the woods over there. So and it was funny because this is 40 acres across this thing, and that sound came across and hit us both right in the chest. I said, boom, like that, And he looked at me. He's like, oh, my God, man. He said, what in the world can make that noise? I said, I told you they real. I said, you ain't got to believe me. And I said, now you got proof, huh? I remember these young guys that are down here, that they were making a bunch of comments because they'd heard my story and all that. And I said, tell y'all what. I said, y'all come on out here. And I said, I'm going to put you right on our hunting lease. And I said, I don't go out there at night. I'd leave that alone, And I said, I'll let y'all spend the night overnight. And I said, if y'all don't come running back to the house in the morning, I said, y'all some real men. I said, I promise you. They said, oh, we're going to go camp out in tents and all that. I said, oh, yeah, you go ahead. Go get your tent. I said, I dare you. I said, I'm going to bring you out there and let you go camp out. And I said, I promise you. I said, before the morning comes, y'all going to be running all the way back from that hunt lease back to the house and beating on the door trying to get in. I said, I promise you.
Did they end up coming out camping?
Huh? No. They just run their mouth. They just shooting the bull and stuff. I thought that was cool. I said, yeah, it's all fun and games. So they come and grab your tent and start throwing you around and all that. I said,
it's
those up there. They don't harm me or anything, but I mean, they will pick at you and mess with you, while you're in the woods and all that. So they have done that. This past hunting season was probably the most eye shine I've ever seen on our deer lease ever that I've seen in Sasquatch National Forest. And I mean, they were all around us. I mean, it was amazing, but it was early in the muzzleloading season. And it was actually the first weekend of muzzleloading season. We was out there early in the morning, probably almost an hour before the sun rose. And I got into the stand, and sure enough, you look around, there's just eye shine everywhere, man. It was beautiful. It was actually very beautiful. And what was neat, they were all up in the trees too. And I'd never seen that
Mhm.
before. That was the first time I've ever seen that.
I
But it's
always
neat.
see them up in the tree, down low. Like they're always like in different ranges, but they're just surround me everywhere.
Yep.
Like we have a spot and that we'll have like a fire there, or like if we go there at night, we'll have a fire. But like that's where they show up, and it's weird because it's always earlier in the night for us, like around like um set in between 7 and 9 o'clock is like when you get
Uh-huh.
fucking the orbs just show up like crazy. You know,
Yep.
the local people tell us that they're the ancestor spirits, but I don't know. All I know is I see the orbs. You know, we've seen the eye shine out there and stuff, but the orbs are different. I think they're not just eye shine. You know what I mean? They're actually
Right.
like an orb form.
Yep.
Right?
Have you ever taken pictures of them and seen the faces in there?
ORD?
Yeah. Have you ever taken pictures of the orbs and actually seen a face in them?
ORD has definitely.
I've
Yeah.
taken pictures, all sorts of things.
Yep. Yeah, I've actually gotten pictures of certain ones and it had the faces in them. You know, and it's really, really interesting. I have some cousins that actually live in South Dakota, and they live around Sioux Falls area and stuff. And so they had sent me some pictures where they had an orb in there. And then I took the picture and looked at it. Sure enough, you could see a face in it, and it was really neat. I'm gonna see if I can find that picture and send it to you, Mike.
All right. So you know, I have plenty of questions, but
Hit me up with them. Come on, bring them.
so the thing is that that I challenge you and everyone else is to prove to yourself and everyone else that what you're talking to all the time and what you're experiencing is actually Bigfoot. You need to find some ways to confirm that, to be able to verify it, because there's an awful lot of other things out there that will mess with you and make you think you're talking or listening to a Bigfoot when there's not.
So how are we going to do that, ORD?
Well, that's first thing. Well, first thing we have to do is be honest and say, do I know 100% that what's talking to me is a Sasquatch or what I'm filming or not? If we can't say that, then we have to be honest about that. And Sasquatch is what we talked about numerous times, is about integrity, honesty.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, can I share this with you? For people who are religious out there, when they pray, do you hear from God?
No, nobody does.
My mom does.
I hear from God when I pray. So that goes to show you difference in your beliefs and where you are, Mike. Because I mean, I can tell you right now, I prayed and had God answer my prayers before. How do you think a preacher gets up and preaches? You think they just pull it out of the Bible and this comes like that? It don't work like that.
You're talking to guys who read the Bible all the way through twice online, has read the New Testament all the way through 6 times online, and has done numerous prayers and all that, and prayed endlessly to God. Do you really go down here? Because I don't really want to go down there unless you want to.
I'm here all night, bro. You tell me what you want to do. I can tell you. I'll tell you a good one. Okay, you ready? Here's my story about me and my wife. Honest, true story. You ready? Whether you want to believe it or not, it's up to you, Mike. I don't care. So I'm sitting in my deer stand, okay, in 2012, and I've been single for a long time. I got divorced, went through a bad divorce and everything, and so I just got real with God. And I said, God, you know, I'm in a relationship now with this girl. I'm not being a godly man. I said, I'm really being a heathen is what I am. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I was being bad. And I said, I broke up with that girl, and I said, I want to do this again. I said, Lord, is it your will for me to be single? That's all I did, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I heard a voice, and the voice told me in my head, and it was the Holy Spirit said this, I'm going to send her to you. So you know what I did? I left from my deer stand, all that. I didn't do anything. Now watch this, Mike. True story. True story. I go to work one day, and it's in January, okay? I go to work, and it rained real hard. I turned on the service road. I had my diesel truck, all right, an old diesel truck. Hit a puddle of water. My belt comes off, wraps around my harmonic balancer. I barely make it into my job. I park my truck. I'm sitting there going, how in the world am I going to get home and all that? Okay. Number one, I didn't touch anything. So I call a buddy of mine. My buddy of mine comes over with his wrecker, picks me up. All right. Number one, he picks me up and said, "What you doing tonight, Scotty?" I said, "I ain't doing nothing." He said, "Well, come go with me." All right. He said, "We're going to go have a little thing. We go to these people's house. We're going to have a little food. We're going to have a little praise and worship and stuff like that. Might have a little speech. Somebody's going to talk or something like that. And that's it." So when I go that night, guess who I meet? My future wife. I met her there. Now, God broke my truck down. I couldn't do anything with it. A man come and picked me up, brought me where I needed to be at, okay? All because I prayed to God and I got real with him. All right? Next thing happened was I met my wife. No, it didn't happen right away, okay? Something like that. But anyways, I met her then. So I was going to this big, huge mega church, right? I started going to that church after I met her. We parted ways. We just talked a little bit that night. And the Lord told me, Holy Spirit told me, "I want you to start going to the other church." And I said, "I ain't going to that church. I don't like that church." I started physically getting sick. Okay? Started getting sick. Yeah. Shoot. That was Sunday night. I don't go to church on Sunday. But this other church, her church, had a church on Sunday night. So I start going there. Immediately I start feeling good. It's like I feel 100%. Nothing's wrong with me. Well, guess what happens? I see Dana there, my wife. But she wasn't my wife then. I walk up to her and start going to talk to her. Guess what? She turns and runs away from me. Wouldn't even talk to me. Ain't that something? Next Sunday comes around, guess what? I go to my old church, that big old mega church. Started feeling bad again. Started getting sick. Laura said, "I told you to go to this other church." So I went back to that church again. No problem. I go talk to her again. She runs away again. So this goes on for about 2 or 3 weeks. So finally, I messaged her. I started talking to her. I said, that's the only way she would talk to me was on Messenger. That was it. So finally, after about 2 months of this stuff going on, I quit going to my church, started going to that church, okay? And then not long after that, we started talking. And then within 5 months, we were married. That's a true story. Now, if you don't think you can hear from God, I would get on my knees if I were you, brother, and start doing it.
I've done it 1,000 times, and you have no business telling me that. We still go down this road. I'm being very respectful.
That's,
when
that's up to you, man. This is your show. But I'm telling you what works
being
for
very
me.
respectful.
I'm respecting you 100%. Your show. Like I said, but if some people hear from God, some people don't. But that's up to you.
Yeah. I'm thinking of all the millions of sick children in children's hospitals right now dying from cancer. Horrendous disease. We can't control
that, though. We can't control none of that stuff. That's God's will.
If you really
things happen. Stuff happens to us all the time.
Are you going to talk over me? Because if you're going to talk over me, I'll just shut up and you just keep on talking.
It's your show, brother. Do what you want to do.
So, you have a right to your belief and your opinion, right? And I just think you need to think twice about preaching to everyone else about it. You got to think about everyone else. There are literally thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people who have done the same thing as you and didn't get those answers. And you can't just disrespect them and disregard them and their experiences either.
I'm not disrespecting anybody, but you got your belief and I got mine. It's like some people don't believe I can mind speak. And that's your belief, okay? JT, maybe he can mind speak. Some people can't. He may get visions or something. We all have different things that we get, Mike. And, that's just the way life is.
I mean, the God that you pray to, I know, is an evil monster. So I don't know
opinions on all this stuff.
Your God is the reason why all these First Nations, beautiful people, were wiped out, exterminated, and treated like a pile of crap, all in the name of your God. So we should stop this. Because, it's, you differ from what I see and how I see things. And I could be a real jerk, but I don't want to be. So
that's okay. I deal with stuff like this all the time, bro. And I said, you have your opinion. I still got to forgive people like you.
What do you need to forgive me about? I mean, isn't that bizarre?
If you want to be
what
like
do you
that,
need to forgive me about, man? What do you need to forgive me about? Because I don't agree with what you say.
You don't have to agree with anything I say.
Yeah, I know I don't. None of us do. And I venture that none of us.
We're all on our own journey here, man, our own path, and you have the right to choose whatever you want to do, whatever you want to believe. So We'll just leave it at that, guys.
Well, anyways, I appreciate you having me on, and y'all have a good night. Okay.
All right, man. You
Great, Scott. It was lovely talking with you, man. I enjoyed listening to your encounters. I really did.
Mike,
it was a pleasure meeting you, man.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Well, I don't know what to say, JT. I behaved myself very, very well tonight.
You're all right, man. You're all right. Don't worry, bro. It's all good. Everybody has their own opinions, and
well, there's sometimes there's more than an opinion. There's the absolute truth, and when someone's foundation and their belief system is based on a lie, and they will not be honest about it, all I know to say is,
it's not like that, right?
Be careful who you listen to. Be careful who you listen to. You know what I mean? And
I listen to this right here, and this right here. That's what I'm listening to.
Well, try to listen to me for a little bit. Try to listen to me for a little bit.
I listen to you a lot, bro. You know I do.
Well, try to listen to me now. And that is you got to be real careful of the type of people that you're dealing with. So, and if their motive, it's one thing, and it's not my intention. It was never my intention to do what's just happening, right? And it's one thing though, if you're going to be pushing your religion on us.
He's just speaking his journey, man. That's how I see it. That's all I see.
I know better.
And he's not pushing.
I know better.
Nothing can be pushed on me. I do what I do, and I nothing can change that. And I'm open to hear anybody's experiences and what they want to say, and I'm not going to be offended by it.
It's okay if you just said, you know what, that's what I believe, but there's a lot of people in this room and in the chat room that don't believe what he believes. So when you start pushing your religion on people like that, I mean, that's showing a lot of disrespect to everyone else. So, no, it's not okay.
I get what you're saying. I see it from all sides, right? I see it from all sides.
So it's interesting, it's just, I mean, this guy seems to, this one thing about Scott seems to have been able to be on all these different shows, have all these amazing experiences, and it seems how the rest of us seem not to have that. So I don't know, man. It's up to you what you want to believe and all that. This is not my intent.
I just go look at my experiences, man, and how much stuff has happened in the last 2 years. Things start happening and they don't stop, man.
Well, they're not going to stop, right? I mean, it all depends on how much you want to follow. I guess it all depends on what you value. I value the truth. When I know someone's lying to me, I have a real problem with it. So, there's a difference between belief and when you know someone that is blatantly lying to you. So, it's unfortunate, but
this show is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, hey, man.
It was all good, guys. It was a blessing doing this show, and I had a good night tonight.
I mean, the thing is, JT, why do you have a hard time talking this way? Why do you have a hard time talking this way?
Like what?
I mean, like talking about what just happened to us. I mean, it was him being really disrespectful to all of us.
I didn't find it disrespectful, bro. If I did, you would know. Trust me.
I did.
Clearly.
I did.
I see that.
And the problem is, and I know other people did as well. And, there's only so much you could take when it's just like, when you see the guy twisting scriptures, you see the guy saying he's getting his prayers always answered. Meanwhile, I know a gazillion people have prayed thousands upon thousands of hours for their children and their own issues. Their children had a terrible disease and all that, and they never were healed. Nothing ever good happened to them, but for some reason it happened to him. So this is an important thing, It's an important thing to realize stuff. So.
Yeah, it is.
It is important.
Definitely is, man.
Because it's disrespecting a whole bunch of other. I mean, I know a woman right now. She's got a 5-year-old son who's got all these terrible diseases, right? And
brother. I have to end the show because it's 8:00 right now. We're just going to continue. We could go on forever, man. And we could.
All right. All right.
Let's end the show right here, guys. It was. I need to do some stuff tonight.
I want to say something. So if you don't want to hear me, then bail out, man.
Well, I'm just saying, like, are you going to be staying on for hours talking right now? Because if you are, I
haven't even had a chance to put like 2 minutes in yet. God, I've been listening. Yeah, listen, it's really disrespectful to what he did. He was not thinking about everyone else. It was wrong of him. There's people here that are pagan. There's people that are witches. There's people that are Native American people that have their own different religions, and to have him push his Jesus on us is not fair.
All right, I see that.
Yeah, it's not right.
Okay, well, I'm gonna jump out, guys. It was an awesome show. Thank you for anybody out there watching. I have to do some stuff tonight still, and it's 8:00, and I have to go to work tomorrow. So, squatch out.
See you. We'll see you, man. And there we go. So, anyways, yeah. I all I know is I really restrained my tongue, but there's another certain point, just like, really. So is this all about just getting the one person laying a pile of? The problem is, in this community is there's a whole bunch of bullshit artists out there, man. There's a lot of BS artists out there. A lot of people. You have other agendas, and I just think it was wrong, man. He might have had some of those experiences, but the images that I saw, I didn't see that he shared with us. There was no Sasquatch. Looks like there's multiple entities. Am I supposed to? Yeah, that's a Sasquatch. If they keep on doing that, yeah, that's a Sasquatch. It's a Sasquatch. Come on. Anyways, I don't hate the guy. I don't hate JT. But if everybody else and they say three's a crowd, man. But if everyone else is right their opinion, then so do I. Even if I am, the host. So, anyways, guys, thanks for listening. Yeah, it's up to you to decide what you want to believe. As for me, I wanted to give it to him. The only reason I didn't give it to him was trying to show respect to JT, but JT in turn didn't show respect to me. JT! Anyways, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And everyone have a good night. And I love JT. And, showing respect is actually willing to listen to the other person, even if you don't like it. And that's what I did with both JT and with Scott. And in return, I didn't get that. It was not returned to me, right? It was not returned to me. So this is one of the reasons why I see there's something seriously wrong with Christianity. There's something seriously wrong with Christianity. And it poisons people's minds to such an extent. It causes them to be absolutely delusional, and it's just caused an awful lot of problems. And it's not just in the question, it's not just my opinion, that there's mountains and mountains and mountains of evidence for that. And if you're going to push that kind of stuff on me, I'm just going to have to say, I'm going to push back a little bit and ask you. And I asked him not to do it. I said, do you really want to go down there? He wanted to go down there. He decided to use this opportunity, instead of talking about his experiences with aliens and this and all that kind of stuff, as an opportunity to proselytize and to preach to us Jesus. That's what happened. Maybe you guys didn't notice it, but I noticed it. And I guarantee if you go back and look, you'll see the exact same thing. He started using it to preach Jesus to us. None of us need that. None of us need that. So, anyways, you try to do the best thing. You try to be there for everybody. I'm more willing to let somebody say they believe this or that, and if you're gonna, but nobody was asking for a religious sermon, so nobody was asking for that. So, but he felt the need for it. So, anyways, By the way, next Saturday, Eddie would be with me, and we'll be doing another episode of the evils of Christendom. The evils of Christendom. And, so that's all I got to say, The evils of Christendom. Anyways. All right, everyone, have a good night.